The winds of Vorta 9 were harsh, whipping across the jagged metallic mountains like sharp knives. The sky was a swirling mix of gray and green, streaked with flashes of distant lightning. The planet was abandoned by humans decades ago, left as a reminder of their relentless expansion and occasional failures. Yet, despite its harshness, the ruins held secrets that had been waiting for someone brave, or perhaps foolish enough to uncover them. Lyra, an alien scientist with pale blue skin and luminous silver eyes, stood at the edge of a crumbling plateau, staring at a massive structure below. The facility was a maze of steel and glass, twisted and cracked from years of neglect. Some of its walls were scorched black, evidence of internal explosions long past, yet the building still hummed faintly, as though it remembered the humans who once controlled it. Lyra adjusted the straps of her utility belt. Her small, lithe frame moved with cautious grace, her three-fingered hands expertly handling the scanning device in front of her. She was not human, but she had studied human behavior and technology extensively. Humans had left behind a galaxy filled with both wonders and dangers. Her mission was simple: explore, document, and retrieve any valuable technology. But beneath her professional calm, a curiosity burned, a desire to discover something no other alien had ever seen. As she descended the rocky slope, the ground beneath her feet trembled slightly. The old metal of the facility groaned as if it were alive. She paused, listening carefully. A faint, irregular beeping echoed from the main building. It was subtle, almost drowned out by the wind, but Lyra's sharp ears caught it immediately. Her heart quickened. She had expected derelict equipment, maybe some long-dead security bots, but the signal was different. It was rhythmic, mechanical, and yet oddly human in its pattern. She crouched behind a chunk of broken concrete and peered into a shattered doorway. There, in the center of a vast, dimly lit chamber, was something she could not have anticipated. A figure lay chained to a massive support column, its metal armor cracked in multiple places. Sparks flickered along its body, illuminating the room with brief bursts of light. Its head hung low, and for a moment it seemed like just another lifeless machine, left to rust in silence. But when its eyes flickered open, glowing a faint blue, Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. The eyes were alive, intelligent, aware. The chains binding it clanked as it shifted slightly, and the metallic echoes filled the chamber. Lyra instinctively pressed herself against the wall. "It's not entirely machine," she whispered to herself. "There's something more." She had heard legends of human experiments, machines built from human design but enhanced with biological components. Some were created for labor, others for war. But this seemed different. There was pain in its movement, hesitation, almost like it had been alive once and forced into metal and wires. Lyra stepped forward carefully, scanning the chains and the surrounding mechanisms. They were intricate, layered with locks and fail-safes. Whoever had imprisoned this being had wanted to be sure it could never move again. And yet there was a faint warmth in its presence, a pulse that reminded her of the heartbeats of living creatures. The cyborg's head lifted slowly. Its glowing eyes met hers, and for a long moment neither moved. Lyra could feel a strange connection forming, something beyond technology, beyond fear. It was as if the creature recognized her not as an enemy but as a potential ally. "I can help you," Lyra said softly, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She activated a small device from her belt, a tool designed to interface with foreign technology. Sparks flew as she touched the first lock, and the chain systems resisted, sending a small shock through the metal. She winced but persisted, careful not to harm the being she was trying to free. The cyborg let out a low, mechanical hum, a sound that seemed almost like a sigh. Its hands twitched, constrained by the heavy chains, but it did not resist. There was trust there, or at least hope. Lyra adjusted her scanner, analyzing the complex wiring and lock mechanisms. This was no ordinary machine. It was designed for intelligence, for decision-making, and perhaps for emotion. Minutes passed like hours. The storm outside rattled the structure, sending loose debris clattering across the floor. But inside, Lyra and the cyborg worked together in silence. She spoke softly, not expecting an answer but wanting the creature to know she was not a threat. "I am Lyra. I do not intend to hurt you. Let me help you." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last lock clicked. The chains fell away with a heavy clang that echoed throughout the chamber. The cyborg flexed its hands, testing its mobility. Its glowing eyes focused on Lyra, studying her in a way that went beyond programming. "You set me free," it said, its voice deep and mechanical, yet with a tone of wonder. "You alien..." Lyra blinked. The voice was intelligent, aware. It carried a hint of something she could almost call gratitude. "Yes," she replied, keeping her hands visible. "I believe freedom is worth the risk." The cyborg rose slowly to its full height. Metal plates shifted and hissed, sparks dancing along its joints. Despite the damage, there was a strength in its posture, a readiness to act but not in aggression. It looked at her, and Lyra could feel that this was the beginning of something extraordinary, something that neither human nor alien could have predicted. Then, without warning, the building groaned violently. Dust and debris rained down from the cracked ceiling. Old security systems, long dormant, began to hum and flash. Lights blinked erratically, and a deep alarm sounded through the facility. Lyra cursed under her breath. She had not expected this. The cyborg's eyes flickered. "We must leave," it said, almost urgently. It moved with surprising speed despite its size, guiding Lyra toward a side corridor. The walls were cracked and the floor uneven, but the creature navigated with precision. Lyra kept close, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. As they moved deeper into the facility, she stole glances at the cyborg. Its armor was damaged, yes, but there was something human in its movements. The careful placement of each step, the way it analyzed the environment, the quiet vigilance. Lyra realized that humans, even long gone, had left behind a spark in their creations, a spark of ingenuity, courage, and morality. They reached a section where the floor had collapsed partially, revealing a chasm below. Lyra hesitated, but the cyborg extended a mechanical arm, offering her support. She grasped it, and together they crossed the gap. Sparks flew as the metal scraped against metal, and the alarm continued to wail. Yet Lyra felt no fear, only determination. "We are close," the cyborg said, its voice carrying a hint of hope. Lyra nodded, trusting the being that humans had once created. She had no idea what adventures awaited them, what dangers still lurked in the shadows of this abandoned facility. But one thing was clear. The first step had been taken. The chains had fallen, and with them a new partnership had begun, one that might change the galaxy. Outside, the wind howled, tearing at the edges of the broken structure. But inside, amid the ruins and sparks, a bond was forming, an alien and a cyborg, standing together against the remnants of the past, ready to step into a future neither could have imagined alone. Lyra looked up at the flickering ceiling and whispered to herself, "Whatever humans left behind, I will uncover it. But I will not let fear rule me, not now." The cyborg's eyes met hers once more, and for the first time Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. This was not just technology. This was life, and in that moment she knew the real adventure was only beginning. The storm outside raged on, lashing the broken walls of the abandoned facility. But inside, the world seemed quieter, strangely focused. Lyra and the cyborg, now free from his chains, moved cautiously through the dim corridors. Each step echoed, metal scraping against metal, the sound of a long-forgotten structure being explored once more. Varek, the name Lyra learned from a flickering display on the cyborg's chest panel, stood taller now, his movements more confident but careful. The chains had been removed, but his body was still battered and weak in certain areas. Sparks occasionally flickered along his cracked armor, evidence of past damage and neglect. Yet his eyes glowed steadily now, tracking Lyra's every move, analyzing the situation with intelligence and curiosity. "Where are we?" Varek's voice, deep and mechanical, carried a faint hesitation, like a mind waking from a long sleep. It sounded almost human in tone. 4 to 9, Lyra replied, keeping her eyes on the corridor ahead. "A human colony. They left long ago, but there may still be records of their work here. That's why I came." Varek's glowing eyes scanned the walls, the debris, the cracked ceiling. "Humans left?" he repeated slowly. "Abandoned this place?" His voice carried disbelief, tinged with something Lyra couldn't quite identify, perhaps sorrow. "They did," Lyra said softly. "Long ago. Their experiments, their machines, all of it was left behind. Most of it is dangerous. That's why I need to be careful." Varek took a slow, deliberate step forward. Despite the cracks in his armor, he moved with surprising grace. Danger, I am familiar, he said.
But you... Help me, why?
Lyra paused. It was a question she had asked herself many times in her research. Why risk herself for a machine? But Varric was not just a machine. His intelligence, his hesitation, the flicker of awareness in his eyes, it all spoke of something more. Something human. Because no one deserves to be chained like that, she said simply. And because since you are different, you are capable of more than destruction. You can think, you can choose. Varric processed her words silently. The soft hum of his servos filled the corridor, almost like a heartbeat. Choose, yes, he said finally. Humans feared my choice, chained me to prevent it, but you allow it, Lyra nodded. I believe freedom is worth the risk. For a moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the distant roar of the storm and the occasional spark from Varric's armor. Then a flicker of light caught Lyra's attention. She turned toward a side corridor, her scanning device picking up a faint energy signal. There's something here, she said. Records, maybe technology. Something left behind by humans. Varric followed, his sensors glowing softly. Lead, he said. I assist. The pair moved cautiously, stepping over rubble and broken wiring. Lyra's small frame and alien agility allowed her to move quickly, but she slowed when Varric's massive form approached delicate structures. Despite his size and strength, he was careful, as if he understood fragility in a way humans had intended him to. They entered a chamber that was once a control hub. Screens flickered weakly, dust covered every surface, and wires hung like vines from the ceiling. In the center was a large console, its panels cracked but still functioning faintly. Lyra's fingers danced across the controls, her scanner interfacing with the systems. Varric watched silently, tilting his head. Humans. Built much, but why leave? They left for survival, Lyra explained. The war reached this sector. They abandoned their colonies and equipment. Some of their machines, like you, they feared would act against them. That's why you were chained. Varric remained silent for a long moment, processing her words. Then softly, almost as if speaking to himself, he said, Fear of what humans created, but humans made me, gave me thought. Feeling, maybe. And yet, they chained me. Lyra's heart ached a little at his words. There was a quiet tragedy in Varric, a shadow of what humans had left behind. I don't know why they chained you for certain, she admitted. But I know now that you are more than a weapon. You can choose your path. A faint hum interrupted them. Lyra's device picked up a movement in the corner of the room. She turned just in time to see a small drone, long inactive, spring to life. Its optics glowed red, scanning aggressively. Lyra's hand went to her energy tool, but Varric moved faster. He raised one massive arm, a built-in pulse emitter activating with a hum. The drone froze, then fell to the floor, completely disabled but unharmed. Lyra's eyes widened. You didn't destroy it. Varric's eyes glowed brighter. Humans designed me for efficiency, not waste. I decide now. His words were deliberate, almost thoughtful. You taught me freedom. I respect life, not destroy it without cause. Lyra smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. That's remarkable. You are more than they ever imagined. For the next few hours, they explored the chamber together. Lyra found fragments of data files, recordings of human experiments, and schematics for advanced machinery. Varric absorbed the information, interpreting it with logic, yet also understanding. He asked questions about human history, morality, and choices. His curiosity was human in nature, and Lyra answered as best she could, careful to avoid sharing dangerous knowledge without context. At one point, Varric paused before a cracked mirror. He tilted his head and studied his reflection. Metal, wires, and glowing blue eyes. I look human? He asked softly. You have human thought, Lyra replied. That counts more than looks. He considered her words, then nodded slowly. Then, I am human, partly. The two shared a moment of quiet understanding. Outside, the storm intensified, the sky streaked with green lightning. Inside, amidst the ruins of human ambition, an alien and a cyborg had formed a fragile bond, united by courage and curiosity. Suddenly, the floor beneath them trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling and an old automated security system activated. Red lights flashed across the room, and a low mechanical growl echoed through the facility. Lyra grabbed Varric's arm. We need to move now. Varric nodded. Yes, I sense danger. Lead and I protect. They dashed through the corridors, navigating rubble and broken doors. Varric moved with surprising agility, clearing obstacles and gently moving debris to allow Lyra to pass. He seemed faster, more aware than any machine should be. Lyra realized that humans had built him not only to fight but to adapt, to learn, and perhaps to understand morality, a legacy she could now witness firsthand. As they turned a corner, the corridor ended in a massive blast door. Sparks flew from the mechanisms as the system attempted to seal it shut. Lyra's scanner picked up faint traces of remaining energy. If we can override it, we might escape, she said, breathing hard. Varric knelt before the controls. His metallic fingers danced over the panels with precision. Humans trusted me. With knowledge, now I act, he murmured. Within moments, the heavy door shuttered and slowly lifted, allowing them passage. On the other side was a vast hangar, half collapsed but open to the stormy sky. Lyra paused, taking in the sight. The wind howled through the broken roof, carrying the scent of ozone and metal. Lightning illuminated the scene, revealing the twisted remnants of human machines scattered across the floor. Varric turned to her. We are not safe, he said, but we move forward, together. Lyra nodded, her heart pounding. Together. For the first time since she arrived, she felt a sense of purpose beyond discovery. They were not just exploring remnants of the past, they were shaping the future. And though the storm outside raged with fury, inside the hangar a new bond had been forged, one that combined human ingenuity, alien courage, and the enduring spark of life, even in a machine. As they stepped forward into the hangar, a faint light flickered at the far end. Lyra's scanner picked it up. It was faint but unmistakable, a signal from deep within the facility. Something humans had left behind, waiting to be discovered. Varric's eyes glowed brightly. We find it, whatever it is. We find it, Lyra smiled. Then let's go. And with that, the alien and the freed cyborg moved deeper into the remnants of human creation, unaware of what dangers or discoveries awaited them. Yet one thing was certain. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, guided by intelligence, courage, and the enduring spirit of humanity, alive in the mind of a machine. The hangar was massive, though half of its roof had collapsed long ago. Broken beams jutted out at odd angles, and remnants of human machinery lay scattered across the floor like the bones of some long-dead beast. Rain from the storm outside dripped through the gaps, forming small pools that hissed when sparks from damaged electronics landed on them. Lyra took a cautious step forward, her scanner sweeping the area. The signal she had detected earlier pulsed faintly from the far side of the hangar, and she knew it might lead to the answers she sought. Varric followed silently, his heavy footsteps muffled by the water and debris. His armor creaked, but he moved with care, mindful of Lyra's safety. We need to be quick, Varric said, his deep voice echoing slightly. Systems unstable. Alert protocols may activate, Lyra nodded. I see, stay close. We don't know what's left of the old security systems. As they moved, Varric's eyes scanned the room constantly, analyzing every shadow, every corner. Lyra marveled at the precision and awareness in his movements. He was built for war, yet he acted with thoughtfulness, restraint, and intelligence. Humans had left behind a legacy of ingenuity in him, a combination of strength and morality. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Lyra's eye. A small group of security drones, long inactive, whirred to life. Their red optics glowed menacingly as they scanned for intruders. Lyra froze, but Varric moved instantly. Stand back, he said. With a swift motion, he raised one arm and activated a magnetic pulse emitter built into his forearm. A low hum filled the hangar and the drones froze mid-air, motors grinding as they shut down completely. They fell harmlessly to the floor. Lyra exhaled, relieved. That was impressive. You didn't destroy them. Varric's eyes glowed softly. No, humans designed me to think, not to kill blindly. I decide now, she smiled. You've learned well. They continued toward the source of the signal. The hangar narrowed into a corridor lined with shattered control panels and twisted cables. Sparks flew occasionally from broken circuits and the floor trembled beneath them. Lyra's scanner beeped urgently. Something's coming. Before she could react, a large automated security unit dropped from the ceiling, a remnant of human defense systems. It was humanoid in shape but much larger than Varric. its metal frame polished and imposing even after decades of neglect. It raised a weapon and its optics glowed a deep crimson. Varric stepped in front of Lyra. "Stay behind me," he instructed. The machine fired. Energy bolts streaked across the corridor, hitting the walls with sparks and smoke. Varric moved like a blur, dodging the attacks with surprising agility. He closed the distance in moments, grabbing the machine's arm and twisting it, disabling the weapon without causing permanent harm. The machine fell with a heavy clang, powerless. Lyra's heart pounded. "You controlled it. That's incredible. You don't just fight. You think," Varric's eyes flickered, "humans gave me thought. I honor it." The two continued deeper into the facility. The signal grew stronger as they approached a heavy blasted door. Varric analyzed the lock system, his fingers moving over controls with a combination of human logic and mechanical precision. Lyra assisted, feeding him information from her scanner. Minutes passed. Sparks flew, alarms began to echo faintly, and the door slowly rumbled open. Beyond it lay a chamber that had once served as a human laboratory. The walls were lined with broken consoles and shattered screens, but at the center was a device humming faintly, a small sphere pulsing with a soft blue light. Lyra's eyes widened. "That's it. The signal source. This could hold critical data." Varric approached the sphere cautiously, analyzing the energy patterns. Humans built this as a repository, knowledge, and perhaps a power. But it is damaged. We must be careful. As Lyra reached out, a deep vibration shook the room. The old facility had begun to collapse. Metal groaned and dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra grabbed the sphere, and Varric's mechanical arm stabilized it. Sparks flew around them, and Lyra felt the floor shift beneath her feet. "We need to move now," Varric said. Together they navigated through the collapsing laboratory, dodging falling beams and shifting debris. Lyra marveled at Varric's combination of strength and intelligence, how he calculated each move, protected her, and adapted to every new danger. Humans had left behind a machine capable not only of battle but of judgment, compassion, and strategy. Suddenly, a corridor collapsed ahead, blocking their path. Lyra froze, panic rising, but Varric's eyes glowed brightly. "Alternative route. Follow me." He led her through a maintenance hatch, small and narrow, that Lyra could barely fit through. Varric adapted, folding parts of his metal frame carefully to squeeze through. The hatch opened into a long, sloping shaft, leading toward the surface. Rainwater poured in from cracks above, making the passage slippery. Lyra's scanner beeped frantically. She could sense more active defense systems triggered by their movement. "We're not alone," she whispered. Varric's sensors flickered. "Humans left failsafes. Automated drones. I protect you." They moved quickly, Varric clearing obstacles and Lyra scanning for traps. Each step was tense, each breath measured. The facility, once a monument to human ingenuity, had become a deadly maze, but they were learning its patterns, outsmarting the dangers with intelligence, teamwork, and courage. As they neared the top of the shaft, a massive section of metal crashed down behind them, cutting off the way they had come. Lyra gasped. "We're trapped." Varric analyzed quickly. "No, another way exists. The old elevator system. If we reach it, surface is possible." They ran, the storm outside growing louder, lightning illuminating their path. Debris fell all around them, but Varric's strength and guidance kept Lyra safe. They reached the elevator, a rusted metal platform hanging by thick cables. Varric accessed the control panel, overriding decades of neglect with human logic and alien ingenuity combined. The elevator shuddered, sparks flying, and then began to rise. Below, the facility continued to collapse, pieces of metal and concrete tumbling into darkness. Lyra clutched the sphere tightly, her pulse racing. Varric stood close, watching her. "You are brave, like humans." "Once were," Lyra smiled, adrenaline pumping. "And you are extraordinary. Humans made you, but you're more than what they built." The elevator jolted violently as a portion of the ceiling collapsed above them. Varric used his strength to steady it, bending and twisting the metal as necessary. Lyra held on, awed by the machine's intelligence and courage. Finally, the elevator broke through the roof of the hangar. Rain and wind slammed into them, cold and violent but free at last. Varric's glowing eyes scanned the stormy landscape. The metallic mountains stretched endlessly, but there was a path, a way forward. Lyra took a deep breath, exhilarated. We made it, she said. Vorik turned to her. Yes, and together. Freedom achieved. But humans may return. We must be ready. Lyra nodded. We will be. Whatever comes next, we face it together. They moved away from the facility, toward the distant horizon where the storm met the mountains. Behind them, the crumbling structure reminded them of the past, of human mistakes, ingenuity, and the remnants of creation left behind. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and adventure, but with courage, intelligence, and the spark of humanity alive in Vorik, Lyra felt hope for the first time since her arrival on Vorta 9. Let's find out what humans left. For us, she said. Varrek's glowing eyes met hers, a soft hum resonating in his chest. Yes, and perhaps we teach the galaxy what humans were capable of. Together, the alien and the freed cyborg stepped forward into the storm, leaving the ruins behind. The future awaited, filled with challenges, discoveries, and the enduring legacy of human courage, intelligence, and morality, alive in the mind of a machine and the heart of an alien explorer. Lyra and Varrik moved cautiously through the rocky terrain of Vorta 9, the storm fading but leaving a haze of mist across the jagged metallic mountains. The ruins of the human facility lay behind them, dark and ominous, but the sphere Lyra carried pulsed faintly, guiding them forward. Its soft blue glow was steady now, as if waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. Varrek's sensors scanned constantly, his glowing eyes sweeping the horizon. Humans left much behind. Some dangerous. We must be careful, Lyra nodded. I know, but this sphere might hold answers about your origin, Varrik, about what humans intended. Varrik tilted his head. Origin. Humans feared me, chains, to prevent choice. But why? What was my purpose? Lyra examined the sphere carefully. Its energy patterns were unlike anything she had seen before. I think you were part of an advanced human project. They wanted a being that could think, feel, and act, but they also feared it might outgrow their control. Varrek's glowing eyes flickered. Humans feared intelligence in their own creation, but no, I must understand, must decide purpose. The two began to follow the faint energy signal from the sphere, winding through narrow canyons and jagged ridges. As they walked, Lyra explained what she knew of human experiments. Humans were brilliant, she said. They made machines like you, but also tried to merge biology and technology. Some creations failed. Some were hidden, abandoned, or chained. Varrik processed silently. I assume proof of human brilliance and fear. Lyra glanced at him. Yes, and proof that their legacy can be used for good. After several hours, they reached a massive cavern hidden beneath the mountains. Its entrance was partially obscured by metal debris and natural rock formations. Lyra's scanner pulsed strongly. The source of the sphere's energy was here. Inside, the cavern opened into a vast chamber, filled with remnants of human machinery, storage units, and scattered archives. But at the center was a massive console, far larger than any she had seen before. Its screens flickered with faint light, showing fragments of human data. Varrik approached cautiously. Humans built this as central repository, knowledge, and perhaps less directive. Lyra stepped forward, activating her scanner. The console hummed, recognizing the sphere in her hands. Data began to flow. Holographic images of humans, experiments, battles, and designs for machines like Varrik. Lyra's eyes widened. This is incredible. They left instructions not just for technology, but for guidance, ethics, choices. Varick's glowing eyes scanned the data. Choices, human, trusted me to decide, but chained. Because fear? His voice was deep, reflective. Now free. Must learn. Purpose. As they explored the data, Lyra discovered a critical piece of information. Varrik had been designed to prevent the misuse of advanced human AI systems. He was a safeguard, meant to ensure that human technology would never harm others if humans were gone. Chains had been placed not to limit him but to prevent humans' own fears from controlling him. Lyra looked at him, excitement and awe in her eyes. Varrik, you weren't just a weapon. You were meant to be a protector. Humans believed in you, even if they feared you. Varick's eyes glowed brighter. Protector. Yes, now. Must act. Humans trusted me to continue their work responsibly. Suddenly, a vibration ran through the cavern. Lyra's scanner detected movement. Automated defense systems long dormant were activating, triggered by the data access. "We must move," Lyra said urgently. "The facility may collapse if we stay," Varric nodded. "Lead, I clear path." They navigated through the cavern, Varric dismantling or disabling automated drones with precision. Lyra watched in awe. He was not just strong, he was thoughtful, strategic, careful to avoid unnecessary destruction. Humans had left behind a legacy of morality and intelligence, alive in Varric's actions. Finally, they reached an exit leading to the surface. As they emerged, the light of the distant stars shone faintly through a clearing in the clouds. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling hope rise within her. Varric looked at the sphere in her hands. "Humans trusted me. Now I must honor them. Teach, protect, choose wisely," Lyra nodded. "And together we can. Whatever we find, we'll face it as a team." For a long moment they stood in silence, gazing at the horizon. The ruins of the human facility were behind them, but the knowledge and legacy of humans, alive in Varric, stretched into the future. A new chapter was beginning, filled with discovery, challenges, and the enduring spirit of human ingenuity. The night sky over Vorta 9 was calmer now, the storm gone, leaving a chill mist drifting across the metallic terrain. Lyra and Varric walked together, their steps careful but confident. The sphere's soft glow pulsed faintly in Lyra's hands, now less urgent, almost like a heartbeat in rhythm with their own movements. Varric's sensors scanned the surroundings constantly. Planet. Abandoned. Humans. Left yet. Legacy remains, Lyra smiled. Yes, and now we can carry it forward. Protect it. Use it wisely. They had learned much from the human data. Designs for advanced machines, energy systems, and even moral guidelines humans had left for successors. It was a treasure trove, but also a responsibility. Lyra felt the weight of it. As they approached a ridge overlooking the distant plains, Lyra noticed something unusual. Faint lights flickering in the distance. Human ships? Unlikely, given the sector had been abandoned for decades. She signaled Varric to stop. "Look there," she whispered. Varric's sensors focused. "Other, perhaps survivors, or automated systems. We must proceed cautiously." Together they descended the ridge, careful to stay hidden. The lights resolved into a group of automated survey drones, long abandoned but still operational. They moved slowly, scanning the terrain. Varric tilted his head. "They are harmless now. But humans feared. Such systems, I ensure safety." With a graceful motion, Varric deactivated the drones, their lights fading as they powered down. Lyra marveled at his restraint. He had strength, but he also had judgment. Humans had imbued him with morality and thought, and he used it wisely. Continuing their journey, they came across more ruins, abandoned machinery, and broken archives. Lyra documented everything carefully, storing data in portable devices. Varric assisted, his mechanical precision making the process faster and safer. Hours later, they reached a small plateau. From there, the horizon stretched endlessly, showing signs of past human exploration, crashed ships, rusted towers, and remnants of old energy grids. Lyra looked at Varric. "The humans left much behind, and yet so much of it is here in you. Strength, intelligence, morality." Varric's glowing eyes met hers. "I honor humans. Their legacy, alive in me. Now, we continue it together." Lyra felt a surge of hope. For the first time she believed that human spirit, their courage, ingenuity, and moral strength was not lost. It lived on, in the minds and hearts of those who would continue their work, like Varric, and in allies like herself. They descended from the plateau and continued their journey, leaving the remnants of human facilities behind. Along the way, they encountered abandoned colonies, other machines, and remnants of human technology. Some were broken, some dangerous, but Varric and Lyra managed each situation with intelligence and care, proving that knowledge, morality, and courage could overcome even the greatest challenges. At one point, they discovered a small community of alien settlers, struggling with local wildlife and environmental hazards. Lyra's heart lifted. "We can help them," she said. Varric nodded. "Yes, protection. Guidance, humans. Wanted knowledge to serve life. We continue this." Together, they repaired energy grids, neutralized hazards, and shared technology with the settlers. Lyra noticed how Varek's human-inspired decisions shaped every action. He was not merely following orders. He was thinking, judging, and choosing the best path for those around him. One night, beneath a sky filled with distant stars, Lyra and Varek camped atop a rocky ridge. Lyra gazed at the glowing sphere and then at the cyborg beside her. "You've come a long way, Varek," she said softly. He turned to her, his eyes glowing gently. "Humans made me, chained me, freed by you. I learn. Now, we teach, protect, continue. Humans, proud of me if they could see." Lyra smiled. "They would be. You're proof that courage, intelligence, and morality, human qualities, can survive even in a machine." Varek's glowing eyes dimmed slightly, a sign of contentment. Then, "Our journey begins. Together we carry legacy. Humans, alive in thought, action, and choice." The alien and the cyborg looked out over the horizon, where the faint glow of other settlements and distant ruins promised adventure and discovery. They had escaped the past, survived dangers, and unlocked human secrets. Now their journey was theirs to shape a new chapter, guided by intelligence, courage, and the enduring spirit of humanity. And so, beneath the distant stars of Vorta 9, Lyra and Varek moved forward. Together they explored, protected, and preserved a legacy that was never truly lost. The galaxy awaited, filled with mysteries and challenges, but with courage, thought, and moral strength they knew they could face whatever came next.